If I start telling people about hell, I might just scare them off. Where are you going to scare them off to? Hell number 2? Or are you just going to sit there and let them burn?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so interesting to see it all come about because, you see everybody going, electric car, computerized car, and they don't understand they're getting set up not only for the green agenda, but to be tracked everywhere you go. And to see, like, Obama put in, I can't remember what the name of it, but he said that all cars need to start communicating with each other. And this is a whole part of the plan.
Well, that's part of the smart grid. This entire, just think about this right now. And I drive a 10-year-old vehicle, so I just kind of bypassed it. But not only are all cars today, they are making them so that they're all sustainable and eco-friendly. Look at all these cars with eco-injection, and Ford has a new eco. And all these, the EPA actually came out with some regulations. You cannot buy a heavy-duty pickup now without what they call urea. And so what is urea? Well, it's actually animal urine. It has nothing to do with anything. And here's the deal with all of this. So it's a very insidious agenda to really, there's kind of 3 pieces around it. It's reverting us back to ancient goddess worship, the Green Man, Semiramis, Diana, Maya, Gaia, Mother Gaia, the earth goddess, as Al Gore said in his book, this breathing, sentient being needs to be worshipped at all costs, even if it means, and he says this right in his book. Go get a copy of Earth in the Balance, folks, and I challenge you. And by the way, he's coming out, Mr. Al Gore, by the way, the science is settled, the debate is over. We've never even had a debate. They want to jail us climate deniers like Sheila Zilinsky. They actually want to jail us and prosecute us under RICO law. That is any climate denier like myself. And here's the part of back to the smart grid, the smart agenda. It's really about these smart cities, increasing urbanization, getting us out of the rural areas into these densely populated, little stack and pack micro apartments, total subjugation by stealth. Aldous Huxley really said it when he said, hey, they're going to love their servitude. And there's not a vehicle right now that isn't sold without your GPS, your tracking, hacking, attacking. They can shut you down with the click of OnStar, can shut you down. It's just so devilish. And all the smart appliances. We've heard the CIA director say on record, hey, we're going to spy on you through your smart appliances. This is all part and parcel, right from your smart meter to your smartphones, to your smart TV, to your smart car. Whenever I hear smart, I think satanic.
Yeah, especially when you talk about the whole smart home where, from your cup to your computer desk will be, somewhat computerized, and everything in your house will know what you're doing at all times. But people don't believe that this is actually going on in the background. I mean, they're marketing it to you in every department store. How can you not see it?
Well, they want to chip us all, right? Because, even there's a lot of these, RFID chips are probably the first round of probably what will lead up to the mark of the beast. And, it's really sad, Rory and Chris. I think people will actually line up for this thing because it's all trendy to, hey, you're going through the checkup line at your grocery store. Hey, you just happen to have your head handy. Why don't we scan your forehead since you happen to have one? It just is so insidious that, all these swiping things and the smartwatch, Apple Watch, all these little swipe technology. Kids don't even use cash. It's all going cashless. I say the cashless, society cometh, right? Because even in Europe we see that they're going all cashless. So it really is an acclamation.
Oh, yes, definitely. Wow. We've been sort of tracking this for a while now. We see Sweden they're basically almost totally cashless now. I see in America that there's a lot of people, especially in the church, just not awake to this. And, of course, we have our deniers. And since they've been so programmed, and I think a lot of it through entertainment, when you look at Avengers and you see Iron Man come down and he talks about sustainable energy and he builds this pipeline in the ocean under wherever the city, I think is Manhattan. There was just 2 seconds, 3, 4, 5 seconds of propaganda that no one realized what was going on.
Well, yeah, you know, it's really interesting, and I find this is actually pretty funny. Al Gore, again, back to, I call him the only thing around here that has hot air. There's no, the global warming, forget that. Al Gore is the biggest source of hot air. But anyway, I mean, he's such a hypocrite. You know, he builds this oceanfront house in San Francisco, you know, a month after he says, oh, the sea levels are rising 20 feet. Well, who would build a house on the rising ocean sea levels, right? Rising sea levels. So obviously, and the guy's just the biggest hypocrite. He jets off to all these places with his little pal Leonardo, I love the climate, DiCaprio. And so you've got all this cast of characters that are always telling us, oh, we better, you know, go carbon neutral. Well, there's two things, and I'm going to get back to carbon neutral. That term is so insidious. But Al Gore is actually coming back out with a new part 2 of Inconvenient Truth, or what I call it Convenient Lies. But he's coming out with part 2. I mean, can you believe that? You know, he said that New York should be underwater by 2010. All these wild predictions these guys make. Mm-hmm. So back to carbon neutral, we exhale CO2. It is the God-given necessary byproduct for human life. It's a trace gas. If plants don't get enough, we die. Humans die without CO2. That's the Cold Notes version. So what they want to tell us with CO2 is the temperature rises. They're telling us, this is the United Nations little phony it's a little international panel of climate crooks. I call the acronym IPCC. But the IPCC is essentially telling us this, who, by the way, the chair of that committee he resigned last year due to pedophilia, alleged, but he did resign. He was running it. He was the chair of the committee. He was a Hindu, but he also said that global warming and all this environmentalism, it's not just his job on the United Nations, it's his religion, it's his dharma, you know, and that's the red flag. And this guy is, by the way, side note, is a railway engineer. When did a railway engineer become a climatologist? So the United Nations IPCC, their little phony climate panel, they actually say right in their literature on the UnitedNations.com that they're not even a scientific body. So what are they doing, giving science advice and saying, oh, yeah, the science is settled, the debate is over, humans are causing global warming? Well, I've got a news flash for everyone. CO2 and temperature have no correlation. And again, CO2 was deemed by, get this, it went to court some 10 years ago, and the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, deemed it, they classified it as a deadly pollutant. So what you breathe out is a problem.
Wow. And
when you hear the word carbon tax, think of this, a fine for breathing. How does that sit with you?
It doesn't sit well at all.
Especially when you hear them talking about taxing farmers for the flatulation of their cows.
Yeah.
Really? You're going to have to tax a whole lot more than cows.
There's a California senator that not just wants to tax cows, but people can look this up, do an engine search on this. There's actually a Washington senator 2 years ago that wants to fine people, bring out a breathing tax. And that's not a joke. It's not some cutesy thing. They really do want to tax us for breathing because here's the thing. There's a little fancy word that, of course, no one really knows what it means, but it's called anthropogenic global warming. What that is just a little fancy term for man is the problem. Man is causing it. And even the Pope, in an unprecedented move, probably some 18 months ago, came out with the encyclical. And it was called Our Common Home. And what he says in there, I was stunned when I read this 82-page report. And when the Pope does an encyclical, it's pretty much like saying, okay, listen up, 1.8 million Catholics, or billion Catholics, it's a billion Catholics. You better listen, and you better follow along with this green agenda, because shouldn't Catholics really be in charge of, forging the way for a better future since man is causing global warming? Well, when did the Pope become a climatologist? Well, that's my first question. And the second thing is, he actually named himself, ironically, the guy's name is not even Pope Francis. He named himself after George Bergoglio. His name is George Bergoglio. He took the title Saint Francis, which is from Saint Francis of Assisi.
Hello. I think we lost Sheila.
We lost her.
We lost Sheila.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
I think. Go ahead, Rob. I'm going to get her back.
If you like our videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get all our frequent updates.